Basically.
Doc Williams Podcast.
Good times, good times.
Doc Williams Podcast.
Well, basically.
Doc Williams Podcast.
Good times, good times. All right, and we are back. This week, we're going to be looking at this week's issue of Trends. And as always, I have my constant co-host. Sabrina is going to tell me what she picked out of trends this week and what I should build. So, what kind of trends did you see this week?
So there are a couple of things I thought were interesting in the latest newsletter. So first off, there were two different things. One was talking about older adults, and that's the one I really wanted to focus on. So talking about how basically, because people are living longer on average now, we're going to have 20% of the population in the U.S. is going to be baby boomers within the next, I think, 10 years. So that's a huge market that's basically untapped as far as making things that don't lump them all in as one specific over 50 group, but targets specific needs in older adults.
What do you got, like, say, for instance, like health concerns or like their shopping needs? What do you got?
Well, even that, not viewing them as just like, we have to provide, but that, like, they're going to have different cognitive needs that they need to do, like they mentioned quilting and Sudoku and stuff like that.
Oh.
But also just some of them are dealing with not major health issues, but trouble getting around the house, or for instance, like getting dressed. So it mentions like adaptive clothing is a huge marketplace that could take off. You know, shirts with Velcro instead of buttons. Things that are easier to do if you have arthritis, things like that. But then they also mentioned too that that there's the need for social connection because lots of them live alone, and there are some services that pair a college student. They pay the college student to basically get on with an older person and like as a coach, I think.
Coach for what?
Like whatever their subject is. And
to teach the older one a subject or vice versa?
No, vice versa, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like students?
Yeah, and so the idea is that basically to have to open up connection for older people to other platforms. Like there was one specific platform, I forget what it was called, but it basically, it did like group movie nights and like posting events. It's kind of like a mini Facebook, like, oh, let's talk about this. It's kind of like Reddit and Facebook and everything like that put into one.
Did they say what older people, I guess they're using Facebook pretty much, right?
Yeah, I think that's a big one. But then there was the other one, and I'm going to see if I can pull it up right now. If I can remember what it mentions in the article, because...
So as you're finding that, I'm going to talk about a few things.
Go ahead.
So the thing that I look at this is the easiest thing that I could do, right? So if I'm looking at something like quilting patterns or Sudoku, I think that's easier because now I can get that established in like Etsy or do things like that. And I can do digital downloads, so I could create something very specific for them. The question is, for me, where could I start putting out those different Sudoku, or how could I make Sudoku very specific or niche for that type? Because how would they know the difference between just buying a book of Sudoku at the store versus buying mine that I put out?
Yeah, I think it's still important, though, to make sure that it's not everyone that needs the mental stimulation is going to like quilting or Sudoku. So kind of maybe a platform that has a variety of options, like learn a new skill. Or like even coloring. Like coloring books are huge right now. Those are really taken off within the last like 6 years.
And, okay, I like that. Coloring books. How would I... Okay. I'm thinking... Okay, what were you about to say?
Well, I was going to mention that the platform that they were talking about is called Stitch.net. And so that is for over 50s. And because everyone needs company, especially now. And it's community and companionship. They have activities and things like that. Like, here's some screenshots of it where it kind of shows you, like, they'll do, like, musical tribute night and stuff like that. And it is kind of like a Facebook, like a miniature kind of Facebook.
How are they making money? Is it a membership they're charging or is it ads?
Let me see. Well, it's an app.
Yeah. Looks
Um,
interesting.
I'm
Oh,
not-
pricing.
pricing. There we go.
All right, what we got here?
No, I don't think I can join if I'm under 50, unfortunately.
Well,
It looks pretty
I
fun.
cheated out AARP. You can do whatever you want. Free, $5 a month. All right, meet other Stitch members in person at Stitch events. Well, that ain't
Okay, so the
happening.
public is free. Public Stitch members can attend the events.
Um,
Full means you can connect online and in person, $5 a month.
that's really not that bad.
It's not.
Okay, so that's interesting to keep in mind.
Yeah, so that sort of thing is there for just older people to connect because lots of them are isolated. And that's a big drive in places in the article it mentioned, like Japan, where there's a big push to take care of your elderly parents.
That's interesting.
elderly
So,
people.
I got a couple, and then you were talking about social. To me, it almost reminds me of what is it, lunch break or lunchtime, and then that company called like Get Cuppa. Check out Get Cuppa real quick.
Oh, is that where you
So when you're
get coffee with someone?
yeah, virtually. Yeah, getcuppa.io, and it's like a virtual
Cuppa.
virtual coffee date.
Mhm.
And you go from there, and they link you up. That's actually a no-code platform where they just use a bunch of no-code tools and a scheduler to knock it out. And you go from there. So I could see something very specific like that, and just do it as targeted for older ones,
Mm-hmm.
and do something like that.
Well, but then it also goes into there's the opportunity to have a learning platform for older ones to learn how to use more tech tools in the
Oh,
internet.
that's easy.
Because the article mentioned maybe something that can teach them how to use PayPal or
Learning platform.
or how to add a contact on Skype. It's
Love
nice.
it. Okay, so to me, the easy win to me is creating a learning platform specifically for ones
Mhm.
that are older, trying to learn new skills. Do it on Podia. Do something very simple, and then it's like different categories. I would even have a landing page like, what are you struggling with? Then I could poll and then build that course based on that.
And what about maybe having just like a subscription box where depending on what they like they pay, and each month they get virtually
Yeah.
like something tailored for them.
Yeah.
Like a new course or a new
It could be a
class.
new course. They get a free Sudoku per month, something like
Could
that.
be a playlist of curated YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's real easy. Do a mock-up. You could do it on Notion.
Mhm.
And then just have a paper form set. Do that. I think we're going to do that. The other one is for adapted clothing. I think you could do it using Alibaba or something like that. I'd first have mock-ups on a website, and then from there I'd see if something's ranking or if they do well. Then you go and manufacture it.
Yeah.
So
Because that is a thing that we've seen lately, like Target sells adapted clothing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But specifically for elders. Too.
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
One of my best friends always used to have Belco shoes since he was 10.
That's because he was lazy.
Well, all right, so that's good. I'm going to go with a learning platform specifically for the older ones.
Okay.
And then specifically, I like the subscription box. So
Make it curated. Make them feel connected.
yeah, curated. I might even have use something like a Dub, dub.co, or
Mhm.
Dub gives you a message or a video
Mhm.
of someone saying hello, saying their name. Here's your subscription box. I think that would really be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be good. And I think to really get started, if you go into a niche of, you could start it off with even assisted living facilities, and then scale it based on if it's a franchise, then be able to have more. Because if I'm looking at this, how I can make money quickly, you have to hit a certain amount for people to start promoting this thing. The best thing is group homes or assisted living. So now you're getting large amounts of residents or people that are interested, or again, go for a local version of, AARP, they're not going to feature you right away. But if you go local for activities for elderly ones or older ones, and then be featured there, then it's more likely that they're going to allow more information or more interest to find you if you're being showcased in that type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's a good start.
Okay, so I'm looking at that. I'm gonna go with learning platform. That's number one for this week. And very similar, if anyone was listening or seen the viral, how to create a viral newsletter and how to do that with Notion and everything, it's pretty much the same thing, only you're going to do a mock-up of a subscription box, which is just like our MVB.
You could do it with just a landing page, really,
Yeah.
and just make it could just be a newsletter.
Yeah, and see how it is, see what they think about it, and if they get interest in it, number one, it trains them to go to their email, stuff like that. And then when it's right time, then you have a curated digital subscription box.
Absolutely. Okay, cool.
All right.
I have another one.
All right, what you got?
My second one is using this. It's inspired by this app called Strava, which I have not heard of.
Yeah, Strava.
Fitness.
Yeah. So it tracks you and everything. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh, it's
exercise and
huge.
fitness tracking. But it's all different types of things. So you can put in, like, if you're a runner or if you do yoga or rock climbing or whatever.
Yeah, Noah's obsessed with that. Noah Kagan.
So you can put that in there, but there are all these underserved groups that their sport has not been added to Strava. So for instance, like, there are more than 30 million people riding horses annually, but only 2.8 million that do paddleboarding. But paddleboarding's on there, you know. So one of the a few of them that they mentioned is fishing, because recreational fishing is huge.
Actually, yes. I know someone that does, what do you call that thing? You're in the middle of the water?
Fly fishing?
Yeah, fly fishing is huge.
Now there's this thing called Fish Friender, which is a social fishing log.
I should tell them about that.
There's also bird watching. Did you know that a bird watcher is called a twitcher?
I
Is that
did
nice?
not know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Kind of like that. And basically they're saying that bird watching is growing like crazy. Last year, in 2011, bird watchers spent $41 billion on trips and equipment.
Good God.
Yeah, it's like more than doubled. So,
What do they got for them?
well, there's the chirp birding website, which is basically like a leaderboard, and it has like a connected social network, because everyone's trying to compete to kind of see like who sees like the craziest bird.
Yeah.
But I like this one the best. r/foraging.
Always read it. Foraging.
Wild food and foraging.
I don't know what that means.
So foraging is basically like looking for edible plants out in the wild.
Oh.
So, for instance, that's the puffball mushroom. And they share different ways to cook what they find, like pawpaws. That's called chicken of the something. I forget.
Skip a bit.
Yeah, chicken of the woods. Thank you. It's called chicken of the woods. You can
Kind of
eat it.
weird.
Yeah, so it's all stuff that you can eat, but like it's a huge community. It's the article mentions that they have 95,000 members in the subreddit. People share what they find.
It's crazy.
They share how to cook it. They share how to eat it. It's mostly mushrooms and stuff like that, but all different types of
Is this big on YouTube?
recipes. I didn't see anything on YouTube, but I haven't looked.
See, that's
But-
what I would go with.
Like, people are advising how to grow it, how to like replant it. So they mentioned in the article that basically they need a way, recreational foragers need good data to find, identify, track, and share the location and photos of their harvests.
Track and what?
Share the location of their harvest, where they found what they did.
Okay, so they
because
just
they're not
need to
growing
drop
this.
or
They're not growing this. They're finding
Yeah.
they're foraging. They're finding it in the wild.
so they need to drop a pin on things.
Yeah, and I was thinking of it like almost like geocaching, like
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. Like, oh, this is where you go for it. But they basically need a way to. And I was thinking, look at this. Isn't that awesome?
You're on a podcast.
I know I'm on a podcast. For the listener, it's a giant mushroom.
On a counter. It looks like a moon rock.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Alright.
found it.
So they need to geocache and basically compete against each other. So it's kind of like,
No, not competing, but helping other people find it if they're in the area.
okay. So they just need to drop a pin on things.
Yeah, and to report. And I was thinking too, it would be good because there are apps similar to this where you can identify types of plants. It's similar to bird watching, probably identifying.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to identify, if you're out in the woods and you don't know what this is, but you think it might be something you can eat, you can look it up because that's what they do on here. People will say,
but not taking a picture of it, right?
No, you can take a picture.
No, I'm saying you don't need it to recognize. You don't need it to take a picture because you need app development to do that. But you're saying just a reference of like, hey, this is the images?
Yeah, like giant puffball mushroom. I don't know.
So you need a system to tagging. You would be new to this, so I don't know.
Yeah, it could be tagged. It could be tagged with like, what family is it? Is it a fungus? Is it, a leaf? Is it a berry?
Okay. I like that. So they need an app, be able to do that, geocache. Maybe not, they might not need sign-ins, but okay. And then what's the benefit of this?
I was just thinking connection as far as making money. Isn't that your job?
Well, we'll see. But I guess it could be something like Strava and just pretty much start off and just build out the same exact way.
And that's what they were saying in that article too, is that it's under the same category, almost like a sport.
Yeah. So, okay, so you already have a targeted subreddit group. Okay. All right, so that one, geocaching, do that. Number 1, okay. All right, let's see what happens. So the 2 assignments this week, what we're going to build out. The number 1 trend is basically looking for an underserved population, which is a growing population, which is older ones. Look at something that they can have connection, start learning new things. I think building a digital platform specifically for it could work, and having a digital subscription box, something that they can look forward to. And it actually encourages technology because if you're saying, I'm going to send you via email, it still gets them used to different things.
Mm-hmm.
I think a video component would be good, just so they can watch videos and be more connected with people. That's an easy win. And then the second one is looking for, what is this, foraging?
Mm-hmm.
And then talking about, again, a niche of serving a population, seeing if they like it, all those things. We might actually do an investigation, like a news investigation. I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to have you do it.
Do I have to eat things I find in the woods?
Well, sure, if you want to do that. You're going to go undercover and go into this group. And you're going to say, hey, I'm thinking about this. And this drop links like, hey, I'm thinking about building this for you guys. What do you think?
I could just ask, what's everyone using to track?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Yeah. Undercover sounds better, though.
Yeah.
I mean, this one person has it all written down on pieces of paper.
I ain't going to help. What does that even say?
That's their blueberry or blackberry harvest.
Okay. Well, that looks like a cereal color. So, I would drop in the notes, see what happens, and then go from there. So, again, we're always talking about MVPs. How would you do this? I just overthought it. And you could just say, hey, what are you guys using for tracking? That's what we call reconnaissance and market and, market and customer data? Something like that?
Sounds fine. Is this something you could build on a Google Sheets?
I don't see why not. Yeah. You probably could. Depending on what they're looking at. Oh, yeah, that's actually...
Like by category, you could link out to pictures.
Yeah, of course we would use Andrew, our boy from Better Sheets, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. So, yeah, let people know. Just think about, hey, I'm thinking about making a Google Sheet to keep track of this. It would be open to everyone that you could do it. You can even drop pictures. Now, if I was going to do it to make it look good, I would use Pori.io.
Mm.
And then it would just be a form that they fill out or what they're doing, and then they have a directory of everything else of the food.
It would just aggregate everything? Or?
Yeah. So if you have a Airtable form that they fill out and say like, hey, when you go doing this, do this, take a picture, or add this, whatever, and then that information will then go to that directory, and then anyone publicly can just access that directory.
So add to the database, basically. That's pretty cool.
That might work better. I think visually it would look better than just a Google Sheet.
And remember, everyone, do not just eat random puffballs you find in the woods.
That's a very good lesson for everyone. Good finds for this week. All right, so now it's time to get to work and try these things. In the Trends community and on YouTube, you will see these 2 different attempts and see if they fail or anything. But again, this is what we do weekly. See what's going on. We're going to have one at a time and release them later this week. I think we can do, back to back. See what happens.
Alrighty.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.